Hi there, I'm Myrna Loy of Blackbright News, Managing Editor and Director of the publication, which can be found at www.issuu, which is spelled issuu.com/Blackbright News. Now today's video is about gun control. I saw the news released about what's happened in Toronto, Canada, and they've decided to vote to ban handguns completely in Canada because 14 people have been shot, 3 fatally. Now in the UK, something similar happened in 1997, where 16 children were shot dead in a school along with their teacher. And as a result, handguns and semi-automatics were banned in the UK. That's as far back as 1997. Now I don't understand why in the US of A, according to the Second Amendment, every American citizen has the right to a gun. Why would you want to own a gun? Why would you? When you know it's by having a gun, you're likely to use it. That's like saying this is premeditated murder, because it's not like if you have a gun and somebody comes up to you and they're quite aggressive, if you don't have a gun, you're more likely to reason it out with them, because aggression can be misconstrued from the perspective of the individual. We have all of these diversity training and culture training and equal opportunities training. We have all of that, but it doesn't take away the innate fear when someone is faced in an aggressive situation. You've got the fight or the flight response. Now, those of you who saw Whoopi Goldberg, if they'd had a gun, they probably would have shot her, because the way she was coming over was extremely aggressive. But she was lucky because she's on an open forum on a TV show, and everybody had to keep their cool. And that's what I'm saying. In those kind of circumstances, you have to use an alternative measure to quell the situation. When you've got a gun, you don't think like that. You just think, oh, I'm frightened, I'm being attacked, I'll shoot. The problem with that is that black people in particular, especially black men, come over as very aggressive and intimidating, regardless of what is in their hearts. It's their nature. It's the way they express themselves. They express themselves with passion and with zeal. And that is misunderstood by white people. So when you're talking about you can have a gun and you can stand your ground and shoot somebody when you feel threatened, you're giving people the license to kill. And in America, where every American citizen can own a gun, you're giving them all the license to kill based on a perception. That shouldn't be allowed. And none of them have got training on how to deal with individuals, because everyone is acting or reacting based on their emotions. And when you feel cornered, you react, don't you? In the UK, they use reasonable force or excessive force, depending on the situation. Excessive force, they can beat the hell out of you and kill you and claim that they felt intimidated. Reasonable force, they can beat you up but not necessarily kill you. They just don't use a gun. They'll use other things like a baton or whatever. Their feet, whatever they have. That's what they use. But the situation here is that it's not good either way. Whether the threat is perceived or actual. When you have a gun, you're more likely to use it. Now, I know you're going to argue self-defense. I need to defend myself. And there are realistic situations when you are going to need to defend yourself. But to be honest, if somebody's going to be out to shoot you or kill you, they're going to do it anyway. You know what I mean? They're going to do it anyway. People are deranged. A normal person without mental issues is not going to go out and shoot 13 people randomly. They're not going to go into a school and shoot all the children. So you're dealing with deranged people, and deranged people are not the majority, but the majority are the ones who have guns. And that should not be the case. Oh, what can I say? I mean, the law is the law. One person is not going to change the law, but, you know, a lot of you are probably going to agree that guns are the way to go. But for me, it's premeditated murder. You're equipped to kill. You know, when I visit the States and I get off of that plane and I see all those police weighed down with guns and heavy artillery, it's just so intimidating and frightening. When you come to the UK, the police don't have guns. If they do, they're strategically placed. They're not in your face. You don't see them, and they only come out as and when necessary. But you don't find police with guns walking our streets. And you don't find people killing each other all over the place either. So gun control, or guns out of control, I believe that gun control should be the minimal amount of guns on the street. Like in England, owning a gun is a privilege, and a limited one at that. It's not a right. So as a consequence, you don't, yes, people have resorted to stabbing. If they had guns, maybe they would be using the guns instead of the knives. Knives, you can get them from the kitchen, you can get them from anywhere. So there's an increase in stabbing, what young boys in particular are killing other young boys because they're using it as self-defense, so to speak. So yeah, there is a point there that if they had a gun, they'd probably use it, and maybe the rates of shooting might even be higher than in America. But whether they use a gun or a knife, the outcome is still the same. It still results in death. And do we have the right to take a life? Do we have the right to kill? I mean, that's why they stopped public executions, isn't it? And what they call capital punishment, because they were killing people, innocent people. They didn't have the proof, and they found out years later that the person who they'd hanged or electrocuted or given them the lethal dose was actually innocent. So they stopped that. But you don't know what's going on in people's minds. We're not mind readers, so we'll never know what's going on in people's minds. We'll never know whether somebody is threatening to kill you, but they would never have the guts to pull the trigger. You never know if somebody is intending maliciously to kill you. You never know if you've got a jealous boyfriend or a jealous girlfriend who's out to shoot you. You don't know what's going on in people's minds. So therefore, I believe that gun control should be limited, and like in the UK, it should be a privilege and not a right. That's all for now. Bye.